Hey guys, aloha. My name is Timothy. Today is actually day 42. 42. Now, uh, I can't tell you why I've waited from day 30 to day 42 to make this. I finished my 30-day abstinence sobriety video, other than to say that what I really wanted to do in these past 12 days was to kind of get an understanding of where I'm at personally and what I want to do with this sobriety, this short-term abstinence moving forward. So the very first thing I want to cover in here is one of the most important things of all, which is to give you guys the information that you need if you're having an issue and or you are just wanting to take time away from alcohol or drugs. Right here, I'm going to post for you, as you can see, the phone number that you should call. The very first thing you should do is call and find your local Alcoholics Anonymous group. You should go to a meeting. You should meet people. You should introduce yourself, and you should take some phone numbers. You should tell people that you're curious or that you're having a problem or that you just wanted to sit and listen. You go to an open meeting. You don't have to do anything, but please, I highly recommend that you meet at least one person. You get a phone number, you give your phone number, and that person is going to either be your first connection, someone who has some time, who can give you some information, or they're going to introduce you to someone who can do that for you. Okay, so I want to jump right into this. What you're going to experience in this video and what I hope to tell you is what my experience was like, why I did it, what some of the pros and cons were about it, and also what I plan to do moving forward. Just so you can have information to work with in terms of maybe you want to give it a try and or you've been thinking about it a little bit, but you haven't taken the step to go to a meeting or to call somebody and talk about it, and it's kind of just in your head right now. So being authentic here and showing you that, guess what, anybody can have an issue with alcohol or cannabis or any kind of drug. And the fact of the matter is that drugs and alcohol are the undisputed champion of the world. Nobody wins over them. So if it's something that's causing you problems, either health wise or life wise, work wise, relationship wise, then definitely listen to some of the things I have to say. You can send me something in the comment. You can send me a message if you don't want to pick up the phone yet, and I'll talk to you just a little bit about it personally. I will answer every comment, and I will talk to anybody who is having an issue. Now, at the same time, maybe you're like me and maybe you just want to take a little break. Maybe you don't feel like you're having an issue, and that's fine. You want to take a little break. You're curious about abstinence. You're curious about sobriety. If you watch some of my earlier videos on the difference between abstinence and sobriety, you'll understand why I keep kind of using those two terms separately. And basically, it boils down to the idea that abstinence is where you take something out. So you take away the alcohol without adding the program or a 12-step program or any kind of rehab or a detox center or meetings or anything. So sobriety is where you add those things in. You put yourself in a group, you start to work with other people, and you start to heal. Abstinence is where you want to try life without it a little bit, just for health reasons. Maybe you just want to see what it does, and that's fine. That's totally fine. In fact, I guarantee you, without facts, of course, but I guarantee you that quite a lot of people started that way. And when they got into 30, 40, 60, 80, 90 days, they started to realize that, wow, I feel so amazing. I feel on top of the world. I feel like I can accomplish any of the goals I have set for myself. And that's really, I mean, if there's a spoiler alert here, that's it right there. And I really feel that way. I call sobriety a power tool. And what I mean by that is that, when you take this substance out of your uh, physical, mental, spiritual body, there's a clearing, so to speak, that takes place, and a rise in your confidence and your self esteem that I can't really put into words. It is so powerful, guys. And, it starts to happen right around 3 weeks. And I'll be honest with you. Okay, so talk a little bit about breakthrough moments. And I really firmly believe that it was right on day 21, 20 or 21, where I had been through, and I'll get back a little bit to the first couple weeks in a minute, but the breakthrough really came at about 3 weeks. Now, the good feeling from being off of this stuff started within a couple days. But I'm talking about where like my whole everything shifted. And I really got to understand what it felt like to be off of these substances completely. And I want to tell you that it is extremely powerful. So, yeah, let me back up just a little bit. The first couple of weeks, honestly, a little bit of grouchiness. Let's talk about some of the ups and downs, some of the pros and cons. Uh, First of all, let's talk about the cons. Let's get the bad news first. Uh, so, some of the cons, yeah, a little bit of grouchiness. You feel like your identity gets stripped, of course, so you're kind of floating a little bit. Who am I without this stuff? There's just a little bit of social awkwardness. You're kind of like, you're going into situations, and you have been this particular person, but now you're not, and your friends obviously want to know why not. And so if you haven't pulled yourself totally out of the social circles that you were in, which honestly I do recommend that you do at least for a period of time, you're going to have some tools for how you're going to tell your friends what you're doing. And so one of the tools I'll give you is that, for instance, let's just say that there's a big basketball game. Basketball season just ended, and everybody's going, and all your friends are going to be there, and you're invited to this Sunday party, and it'd be really odd if you didn't go. So you want to go, and you go there, and you're drinking seltzer water, right? And someone might say, "Hey, hey Tim, why? What? You don't want to drink beer? What's going on?" One thing I tell them is, "Oh, I'm so hungover from last night. I can't drink today." So you come up with, I know it sounds funny, but you come up with these little things, and you put your can in the cozy. And I think what you'll discover is that most people don't care what you're drinking. They're not even going to ask you. But if they do, I think you will be very surprised how many people support the idea that you want to take a break. Okay, if you get into the conversation and you say, "Hey, I just want to take a break," that's it. And people will support that in a much greater number than you can imagine. Those who don't, those who stand fully against it, you might need to think about those friendships. Okay, that's just the real talk. Okay, so here we are the first couple of weeks. Now, again, in my earlier videos, I give some really great tools, but lots of tea, okay? Lots of relaxation time. I try to stay away from triggers. I stop watching certain things. I stop going to certain places. I take warm baths. If I have a job, now some people, who are watching this are maybe in a situation where their life has really crumbled, and I fully get that. If that's the case, then you need to go to a meeting right now. And you need to go to a meeting every day for, they say, 90 meetings in 90 days. I mean, if your life has crumbled to that point, then actually get sober. That's just my opinion. And it starts with one meeting, okay? And the rewards from that will start within a few days to a couple of weeks. And my longest period of time of being totally, completely sober was 3 years. And my story is unique. And I first got sober during a rehab when I was 19 years old. And I was just really too young for it to kind of stick. But what I learned in that initial rehab was life changing. I got the tools and the understanding about drugs and alcohol and addiction and the compulsive obsessive personality type that I am. I was able to learn how to redirect that into the gym, surfing, my art, and I really kind of developed a new life when I was like 19 years old. And that's what I recommend that anyone does who's really, really having a life crumble. And, it's a one day at a time thing. I don't care if you have 1 minute of sobriety or, 10 years. Somebody with 10 years is going to tell you 10 years, one day at a time. So you start out one day, you go to a meeting, you meet some people, you start making new friends. You start hearing your own story coming out of people that are 5 or 6 years sober. You start looking around the room and realizing there's, people of every walk of life, in terms of types of jobs, in terms of, male, female, nationalities, ages, right? Everybody, because the disease of addiction doesn't discriminate. Okay? It doesn't matter. It doesn't care if you are this or that or the other. It doesn't care. So you're in there, you start to identify with people, get their phone number, start to make a social group. Okay. Now, getting back to just taking some time off. Couple of weeks, start to even keel. My emotions, not getting angry when little things, not feeling down if something didn't go well that day, just staying really nice and even. And oh my gosh, man, let me tell you right there, that is a blessing. Getting to about that 3 week period of time, this internal feeling of joy, like, how can I describe that? It's like actually like a physical tingling. I could just have these moments, I'm talking to my wife and the sun is there and the breeze is, and I don't know, you just start to really feel everything, okay? And you start to realize that all this stuff is going around you that maybe you've been numbing out, and you start to realize how beautiful that is. Your sense of gratitude starts to rise. You start to feel like don't really need to constantly be driving to achieve huge goals. You start to appreciate the little successes that you have. Okay, and for me, that is really true. Now, why did I do it? Okay, why did I suddenly decide I'm going to take 30 days off? Okay, so I'll back up a little bit and tell you where I was at with alcohol and drugs. First of all, I went to rehab at 19 because I accidentally got hooked on methamphetamine. I know that sounds funny, but I had never even heard of it. And somebody introduced me to it, and I got hooked immediately. I was in the military at the time. I went to the medical staff after like the worst year of my life, and I turned myself in basically, and I said, guys, I don't know what this stuff is, but I cannot stop. Never in my life, I did a six week rehab. Never in my life since then did I ever do an amphetamine. Not for me, can't control it. It was going to take me to the street. Alcohol. Prior to this 30 days, 2 or 3 beers at night, maybe a glass of wine, but every night. And every night normally, but if I didn't have it, no big deal. Okay. Totally kind of in control of it. Cannabis, though, is another thing. That was my drug of choice when I was in my early 20s and I started to allow myself to kind of go back out there. I'm not a great drinker. I am Irish partially, but I am not a great drinker. So I chose cannabis as my drug of choice. Can't control it. Cannot control it no matter what. I can't just say a little bit in the evening. No, I can't. I'm a 4 or 5 times a day guy. So anyway, so I hadn't smoked cannabis in a really long time. Don't plan to, don't want to. But the alcohol was kind of light. So I wasn't super worried about it in the addiction sense. But I was worried that I have some really big goals right now. And I was worried a little bit that I'm not at the level I need to be to get myself and my wife and my family up to the next level. So I used a period of abstinence as a power tool. Okay. I said, okay, I'm going to get so fucking healthy right now. Okay. And I don't mind using an F bomb because that's how powerful this is. I'm going to get so healthy that I'm going to be able to move mountains, literally. So in the past 40 days, I've built this YouTube channel. I've so much is, I've written business plans for 3 different things. I made a new contract for China as a model. Yes, I'm 59 and like 8 months old. And I just set up a new contract for my most lucrative modeling port in the entire world, which is China. And modeling came at 19 after the rehab. So there's kind of a lot of stories in here, but if you look at my YouTube, I have shown just a little bit of that. And so I've been a fashion model since I was about 20 years old. And it's been a few years since I've gone out on a contract, which means 3 to 6 months, basically, they got me as a 24/7 for, 90 days to 6 months. In years. I haven't done a contract like that. And I just felt so good, and I'm getting into such great shape. And I'm at an age where the jobs can be really lucrative. So I set a goal and I decided, okay, I'm going to go do this and I'm going to document it. So I hope you will follow. I hope you will subscribe. I hope you will comment. I hope you will get involved in the story with me because it's going to be fun. Another thing that I hope you get involved with is that I set this outlandish goal to go from shower singer to the main stage in 1 year. So I have about, I don't know, 10 months left to get my voice up to Pavarotti level. No, I'm not warmed up and I'm not going to sing for you. But the point is, with all this stuff cleared out of my head and out of my system, suddenly the intuition flow like a river has come through me. And I'm a creative artist, I'm a visual artist. I call myself a life artist. So my choice is now I'm going to go here for a few months and I'm going to do this. And I'm painting this amazing portrait over nearly 60 years. And so when I clear this stuff out of my head, it's like, it's like hitting the accelerator, truly. And the ideas are flowing and I'm action oriented. So from idea to the actions that it'll take is no time at all. There's no such thing as procrastination when you clear these toxins out of your system. Okay, and that is the really, really huge and important reward of this. Now, beyond the fact that physically you're putting a substance into yourself that is really hard on your body, spiritually you're using something there's so many different reasons, but let me just point out a couple of the top reasons. Number one might be to fit in socially, especially if you're younger. Another one might be de-stressing. You think the alcohol in the evening, and I'm talking to myself here too, guys, while I'm talking to you. You think the alcohol in the evening is de-stressing you, but it could very well be something that's slowing down what you need to do, and that's causing more stress. Especially you wake up in the morning, then you had all these ideas in the evening when you were kind of, doing whatever, and then you wake up in the morning and it's like all this pressure, like, oh God, now I got to actually do this stuff. So without the alcohol, without the toxins, there's an even keelness. that takes place. And I want to just say it's worth its weight in gold, that feeling. And whatever you need to work through, or in the case like me, whatever you want to work on as like a self expansion, I firmly believe that that is the key. Okay, getting rid of these toxins, getting honest with yourself. Okay, now when you go into an AA program, let's say, and you decide to take a 12-step program, what happens is you start working with a sponsor, they're called. So somebody who's got a couple years of sobriety or more, and you go through these 12 steps. Step 4 is where you write down everybody that you feel like you harmed in your life, everybody you've held a resentment toward, even every institution you owe money to. Okay, you make this massive list, and in step 5, you go out and you say you're sorry to people. You say, hey, as a sober member of Alcoholics Anonymous, I want to tell you that that time we argued, 5 years ago, I'm really sorry. And then you want to call the place and you want to say, hey, listen, how about, $50 a month? I want to get on track here, get things paid, and you go through this entire list. And I'm telling you guys, that is the most soul cleansing, uplifting experience you will ever have. And I really think everybody should do that at some point in their life. Why not? So, yeah, so taking the toxins out is like hitting the accelerator on your ideas, especially if you're a business person and you're trying to grow a business, or if you're sick of your job, you're sick of the rut you're in. You need everything you got to get the resumes going, to get out to the social events like the job fair, or where you can meet people and you can look them in the eye because you're clear-headed and and your vibe is such that they want to work with you, they want to meet you, they want to know you. Okay, you become a respectable citizen that's capable of everything, not just anything, everything. Stuff you don't even realize maybe that you are capable of. Okay, so without crying here, because I really kind of feel like starting to cry right now, because it is super powerful, and it is like honestly the best thing you can possibly do for yourself. And so in conclusion, and I'll keep this short for now, and I hope you join my channel and you get involved. My channel is about self-actualization. It's about setting big goals and then taking all the steps to get to those goals. And I feel that being as healthy as possible in every way, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially, emotionally, okay, emotional intelligence. So that thing fell on the floor and it broke and it cost like $9. Instead of hitting the roof and like totally going crazy, you're like, you kind of laugh it off. Oh, I mean, you know what I mean? It just keeps things so emotionally calm, and that's such a blessing. What I plan to do moving forward, I'm at 42 days now. My plan was 30. So what does that tell you? I mean, I feel so good. I have no plan whatsoever to go out and buy a six-pack or to go out and score some buds or anything like that. I don't. I don't really need it. In the evenings, I've been having some tea and I'm enjoying time with my wife and my cats. And I just feel amazing. And I see everything growing. And, maybe it's different for me because I'm nearly 60 and you might be sitting there and you're like 25. But I'll tell you right now, it doesn't matter. You take a period off from this crap. If you're watching this and you're still watching it to this point, then guaranteed you're curious and maybe you're having some issues. And so don't ignore that. And don't think about age. It doesn't matter, okay? I'm almost 60, so what? I woke up at 5:30 a.m. I'm going to go to sleep at 10:30 p.m. It didn't matter if I'm 60 years old or 6. It's the same thing, guys. We wake up in the morning, we go to sleep at night. We live one day at a time. And don't think about your age. Think about your health and think about your life being balanced or rebalanced if you're having problems. Again, send me a message however you want. Okay. Instagram me. By the way, follow me on Instagram. You can send me an Instagram direct. TikTok. Okay. I've got it all listed in this YouTube channel. Get in touch. I'll give you my opinion about what you should do next. And my goal is to help in any way I can. I want to share the experiences that I've had in my life, share my wisdom, spread love. Okay. And if you were to message me and ask for some info, some opinion, some help, I would be actually grateful. That is part of my health, is to be able to help you. Okay, so I hope you got something out of this. Yay, 42 days and counting. And I just think it's a wonderful thing, and it's totally worth trying. And yeah, so good luck. And I hope you learned something here. And let me know if you want to have a chat. Okay, guys. Aloha. Shaka. Have an amazing day.